spelled like the state, and Della Garza, that's D-E space, L-A space, capital G-A-R-Z-A. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time away from your families, being here on this very vital issue that we have facing us. We have been encouraged to comment on sections of the Regulatory Act on HVHF. As a group of concerned citizens from Southern Illinois, the Shawnee Hills Haulers, we reject the regulatory bill as we reject fracking. I've read the bill, like I hope many others in here have, several times, and I can't help but focus on one word that I've seen in that bill: frivolous. I think you will go through the bill, and I think that you guys probably came up with that word as it was being composed, and that leads me to the IPA and the irons and the agreed by Sierra, the Dirty Dozen, which I think at this time of the season we should call it the naughty list. So I say section 245.850 only provides for testing of fracking fluids only once during the early flowback stage and only for naturally occurring radio materials. That's frivolous. Frivolous. Okay, let's go with fracking and earthquakes. The IDNR rules have created a dangerous, inadequate warning shutdown system for injection wells tied to seismic events and have given companies no reason to actually abide by this warning system other than negligible fines. That's frivolous. Revoking permits if the wells aren't built to specification. Section 170 in bill. Standards set by the American Petroleum Institute, API, the rules create absolutely no incentive for companies to meet these standards. Section 245.1100. That's frivolous. Weak fines for administrative and operating violations. I'm just going to say $50 fines. That's frivolous. Local control. Section 245.210. Requires that fracking permits include documents certifying consent for fracking operations to occur from the municipal authorities affiliated with the particular city, village, or incorporated town where the well site is supposed to be located, and that no permit be issued otherwise. This section demonstrates blatant disregard for the realities of the geography of our Southern Illinois and fracking in our Southern Illinois. That's frivolous. Wastewater storage. The rules drafted by the IDNR section 245.830, 245.850 contain a huge loophole that allows fracking companies to store this highly toxic wastewater until 7 days after the completion of fracking. That's frivolous. I've been in the media for about 30 years. My husband was a journalist. We traveled the world. We fought a lot of environmental issues. One of the things that stick out to me the most that I feel this coming is work in the DR Congo, where Halliburton has been fracking there since the 90s. 90% of the rural population of the DR Congo cannot drink their water. I see that coming here. We stopped spraying in Colombia of toxins that were stored here, that we quit spraying and using in the United States, and took them into Colombia and sprayed them in Colombia. This is frivolous. This is frivolous. And, I'm going to go on, I'm out of time, but, just taking the 12 and now not all of the sections that you have in here, and you can sit down and tear down every one of these sections. That's frivolous. You guys have a lot of work ahead of you. One of the things that we'd like to do is for you just to stop this work and join us in banning fracking. Thank you.
Well, we've got 20 minutes. Does anybody want to come up here who hasn't signed a card or anything saying they want to speak? Come on up here, sir. Tell us your name and spell your last name if you would, please.
I'm Brian Pelker from Effingham, P-O-E-L-K-E-R. You've already got my card. Just a couple of things. When I read over just a couple of points to me. It seems like we're talking, like people mentioned, fines. On page 127, it says the department may assess the penalty for administrative violations. And I underlined the word may there because there's a real possibility that no fine may be assessed, as small as it may be. I do have a concern about the earthquake problems in southern Illinois with the fault lines. Seems like if there's a magnitude 5 fault or earthquake and there's a fracking operation within 6 miles of that thing, that's a serious problem. And it shouldn't be left up to the operators to decide whether to continue the operations or not. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.